Hey guys, it's Lori, and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a pretty ridiculous book haul for you all. This is kind of just an accumulation of all the books that I bought or received in the month of November. And let me just say, I purchased a lot of books. Like a lot of books. So it's kind of a hodgepodge of different places on where I actually bought these books from or where I got the books from. So I'm going to kind of go over everything really quickly. I'm not going to go into huge detail about every single book because there are quite a few books here and it would take a really long time. I will tell you where I got the books and give a brief description, but nothing too in-depth. So without further ado, let's just get into the haul. So the first book I actually received from this month's Owl Crate, and that book is The Glass Spare by Lauren DeStefano. So this is a pretty interesting sounding book. It has to do with a princess, I believe, whose touch turns people into gemstones. At first, she was really horrified by her ability to turn people into gemstones, but then she kind of got more curious about it. So this sounds like a really interesting read, and I love reading about princesses with special powers and whatnot, so I'm looking forward to actually reading this at some point in time. The next 4 books I got were actually from Barnes & Noble. A couple of them I got during the Black Friday sale where you actually could purchase, I believe, 40% off books that were signed by the author. So I grabbed a couple of them. So the first book that I got from the sale was actually Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. I have honestly heard nothing but good things about this book on BookTube, so I was actually really interested in reading it. It has to do with like motherhood and a interesting suburban family, so I was really intrigued by the synopsis. The next book that I got was Renegades by Marissa Meyer. This was also a signed copy, so really excited about that. So I heard that this book has to do with superheroes and it just sounds really cool, so I'm looking forward to getting into this. The next book I got was A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab, and this is actually the Barnes & Noble edition. I have been wanting to pick up this book for a long time now, but I've been waiting because once I heard about this book, I actually looked it up on I believe Amazon, and I saw that they had a special edition coming out. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna wait to buy it and wait for the special edition. I know that Amazon has a special edition. I believe it's black. The cover is black, and then Barnes & Noble has this gray cover, but I'm actually kind of happy that I got the gray edition because I like the way that it looks. So I only have this one. I know there's 2 other books, but I'm gonna read this first, and I'm just really glad that I found it, and it looks amazing. This apparently has special exclusive content. I think it's like pictures or something. Ooh, I don't know if this is in the other ones, but yeah, see, there's pictures of the characters in there and whatnot. So that's pretty cool. I'm excited. The last book that I got from Barnes & Noble is actually The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. So really, I've also heard nothing but good things about this book. I love fantasy, especially high fantasy, so I already know I'm probably going to end up loving it. It's just kind of a beast of a book. It's huge. Like this is 1,000 pages. This is humongous. I don't know when I'm gonna get to this. Like this is gonna take me a while to finish. 1 month my TBR is just going to be this bad boy. And I think that there's like, what, 2 other books now, with one of them just recently having come out. So yeah, I don't know when I'm gonna get to this, but I know that once I do, it's going to be probably one of my new favorites. So the next 3 books I actually received from a friend. Shout out to my friend G Nitro, who I have known for many years now. He actually sent me some book mail a couple weeks back, and I was still excited to receive it. So still really excited that I received this mail from him. So the first 2 books that he sent me were actually the first 2 books in the Kane Chronicles by Rick Riordan. So the next book that I received from my friend was actually The Hazelwood by Melissa Albert. This is an advanced reader copy of this book. This book doesn't actually come out until January of next year. So, oh my gosh, so excited that he sent me this. But this is a book that I'm like highly looking forward to reading. It's so anticipated. I cannot believe that he actually sent it to me. I was so excited. He won it actually in a Goodreads giveaway, I believe, and when he won it, he told me. I was so jealous, but he told me that once he finished it, he would actually send it to me, and he did. So here it is. I'm probably going to try and read this like ASAP before it comes out because I really want to. And yeah, I'm just really excited that I actually received this book. So this book has to deal with dark fairy tales, and as most of you guys probably know if you've been here watching my videos, I love dark fairy tales, so this is gonna be my jam. I'm so excited about this. So the next books that I have to share with you guys are actually books that I bought off of Book Outlet. If you guys don't know what Book Outlet is, it is just a fantastic place where you can buy books for super cheap because a lot of the books are just books that they had in excess, so they're just trying to get rid of the excess books. I'll leave the links down below for Book Outlet if you're interested in purchasing books from there, but a lot of them are just really, really discounted books. They're brand new, they're just discounted. It's really, really awesome. So the first book that I have is The Adventures of Tom Bombadil by J.R.R. Tolkien. These are actually like short stories or like poems from characters in the Lord of the Rings, I believe. It's a really, really tiny book. Like, look how small it is. It's really cute. The next book I have is The Watchmaker of Filigree Street by Natasha Pulley. This is actually a historical fiction, I believe, that has to do with a watch that I believe saves the main character from a catastrophic event. It sounded really, really interesting, and like, I'm just kind of obsessed with this cover. Like, check this out. Like, so the watch is like right there, right? And then you open the book, it's a hole. So the cover is totally gorgeous, and yeah, it sounded really interesting as well. The next book I have to share with you guys is Star Wars: Lost Stars by Claudia Gray. I remember like a couple years back that there was some kind of article, I think Disney had declared that all of the past Star Wars novels were actually no longer canon to the current movies, but I believe this one is actually now canon to the movies. So I'm kind of happy because I never actually got any of the Star Wars books from the past. So, but I feel bad for the people who actually collected those Star Wars books, and now to have them not be canon anymore is just kind of like a waste of time. But I mean, I'm sure they're still pretty good, but yeah, this one is actually canon to the series now, so. The next book I have is Cruel Beauty by Rosamund Hodge. This is actually an interesting retelling of Beauty and the Beast. Basically, the main character has been betrothed to this evil ruler, and her entire life she's been training to kill him. So it sounded pretty interesting, and I love Beauty and the Beast. It's like one of my favorite stories. So any retelling that has to do with Beauty and the Beast, I'm pretty much down for. The next book I have is Hopeless by Colleen Hoover. This is actually a new adult contemporary, and if you are familiar with Colleen Hoover's books, then you know this is probably going to end up being a tearjerker or just something that is going to pull on your heartstrings, and of course there's romance. I don't read a lot of contemporary, but I do really like Colleen Hoover's writing, and I feel like a lot of contemporaries just kind of help me get in between a lot of like really, really thick, like I don't know if that's the right word, but like really deep fantasy books. I like to use contemporary novels kind of in between the fantasy reads just to kind of like give me a break, because obviously fantasy is like my favorite genre, but I still really like to throw in contemporaries in there every now and then, and Colleen Hoover is definitely one of my favorite contemporary writers. The next book I have to share with you guys is The Smell of Other People's Houses by Bonnie Sue Hitchcock. This book is about 4 different characters, and I believe it is a contemporary. I've heard that this book is really, really fantastic. It is also kind of a tearjerker, so this is another kind of in-between fantasy books that I would definitely want to pick up. I just want to mention to you that this cover is also really gorgeous. It's like purple and like starry, and I think it takes place in Alaska as well, so like the cabin on the cover is like in a snowy area. It just looks beautiful. The next book I have is How to Hang a Witch by Adriana Mather. So when I was actually reading the synopsis of this on Goodreads, it was described as the Salem Witch Trials meets Mean Girls. And if there is Mean Girls in any synopsis, then I'm probably going to buy it, because Mean Girls is like one of my all-time favorite movies, and I'm just really intrigued by that synopsis. Like, Salem Witch Trials means Mean Girls. I mean, I've also heard some good things about this book, so I'm looking forward to reading it and seeing what this is about and how Mean Girls ties into it. The next book I have is First Test by Tamora Pierce. So this is about our main character, Kel, who is trying to become a knight. The person who is training her, though, is totally against women or girls in general becoming knights. But our main character obviously is a girl to not be underestimated, so it sounds really interesting. Excited about this. Also, Tamora Pierce's writing is great, so. The next book I have is Girl in Pieces by Kathleen Glasgow. This book is actually about a girl who is a cutter. So she deals with some mental health issues, and I am always interested in reading books that deal with mental health. For those of you guys who do not know, I actually suffer from mental health issues, and whenever there is a book that has to do with mental health, I'm always down to read about them. And I haven't actually found a lot of books out there that have to do with cutting, which is something that I actually suffered from for many, many, many years. So when I found out about this book, I was really, really excited that this existed because, like I mentioned, there aren't that many books that deal with cutting. So I'm looking forward to delving into this at some point, but this just sounds really, really good. And I think it's really important that there are more books like this out there for people who have dealt with certain mental health issues. So the next book I have to share with you guys is When Dimple Met Rishi by Sandhya Menon. So this is a book that I don't actually read very often. I don't read a lot of fluffy contemporaries, but sometimes, every now and then, I love to read these. These are just so fantastic, especially when you're in a bad mood or if you're in a reading slump. Fluffy contemporaries are so fantastic, and this one just sounds so great. The main character in this book is actually an aspiring web developer, so that's pretty amazing. There aren't enough books about girls who are interested in fields like that, so I'm just really excited about this. The next book I have to share with you guys is The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter by Theodora Goss. So this book is really interesting sounding. It is actually based on some of literature's horrors and science fiction classics that have just kind of come together into this book. It is about a group of women who are coming together to solve a mystery of a bunch of gruesome murders. A lot of the characters in this book have last names of some characters from classics. For instance, there's a character with the last name Hyde, a character with the last name Jekyll, there is a Watson. So there's a lot of really interesting kind of Easter eggs to classics. So it sounded really interesting, and I am looking forward to reading this. So the next book I have to share with you guys is actually a book that was purchased off of Amazon. And that book is actually Star Wars Battlefront 2 Inferno Squad by Christie Golden. So I'm not sure if this is actually canon. I think it might have to do with the game that just recently came out, Star Wars Battlefront 2, I believe. So I'm not entirely sure if it's actually canon to the current movies, but with all the hype of the new game coming out, I mean, this sounded pretty interesting. So those were all the books I had to share with you guys today. It was a huge haul. I think there are over 20-ish books here, probably around 20 to 25 books maybe. I didn't count them. So I do want to mention though, I did purchase more books this month, but they're not going to be here until probably later. So I'll probably put those in the December haul, even though they were purchased in November, but that's okay. I should probably put myself on a book buying ban because I do have a lot of books that I recently purchased, and I haven't really been reading as much as I would like to recently because there've just been so many new video game releases and I've just been so busy. The holiday season is always the busiest. It's so hard to do anything that I want to do. Productivity always goes down during the holiday season. Not to mention my son's birthday is actually in December as well. So on top of all the holidays and all of the running around planning things, my son's birthday is also in the midst of things, so it's just crazy. November and December, even January, are pretty crazy months. So yeah, I should probably go on a book buying ban for a while, but I'm probably not going to because I have a problem. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys did enjoy the video, make sure to give it a legendary thumbs up and subscribe for more videos in the future. My name is Lori and I post videos every Tuesday and sometimes Friday. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!